Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where we read surprisingly interesting stories that usually don't end in a cliffhanger. If you are new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right in. And the first one is titled, "College won't give me disability accommodations but acknowledges that my disability is enough of a problem that they want to send me to the hospital on a regular basis rather than accommodate me." Hey Reddit, sorry if the title is a mess, was advised to come here by one of the students at my school. I have epilepsy, my seizures are primarily set off my stress, non-stable sleep patterns and flashing lights. The first two are the important ones here, they are not grand mal, the ones you see on TV. I am not the only epileptic student on my college campus, and the other one I know of received housing accommodations. I put in for housing accommodations and received back notice after others received their accommodations that the letter my doctor wrote was not sufficient. I had my doctor rewrite it, but was told that the committee would not be able to review my case this semester, my final semester. This means that unless by some miracle of God, the 45 people in the housing lottery before me decide that they do not want a single, I will not get one. However, on this note, despite not giving me these accommodations, the college is still acknowledging my disability. They want to send me to the hospital every time I have a seizure. On a good day, I have 0 to 2. On an average day with a roommate, I have upwards of 7. Their policy, if you refuse to go to the hospital, is to refuse to let you continue to attend classes or return to campus. I live in the US, I'm a college student, one ambulance ride is too expensive for me, never mind multiple a week. I have literally no idea what to do. Are they allowed to worsen my medical condition and then punish me financially for it like that? I'm going to have to drop out in my final semester if they enforce this. And a person in the comments wrote, "I'm not a lawyer, check with a lawyer specializing in ADA law, sounds like you probably have a case. I'm sorry this is happening to you, I would also recommend talking to your roommate about how to reduce potential seizures in the meantime and maybe talk to the campus life department in case there is anything they can do." Indeed, that's the only thing I'm kind of curious about. To me, it seems like OP might not be using the correct medicine, because, at least from personal experience, the mother of my girlfriend also had frequent seizures in the past due to a surgery, and nowadays she takes medication and she hasn't had a single seizure since then. Then again, what do you think about this university? The way they treat this guy does not seem fair to me. Let us know in the comments what you think. And the next one is the update to the college story. Hi again Reddit, epileptic college student here. I hear it is courtesy to update from my Reddit using friends. I followed your advice and went to higher ups using what I had learned from people on here. I went to the head of the housing department at my school and would not leave until we came to an agreement, which was very hard to do because I am very shy. I got my single for next semester, thank you all so much for your help. I don't know if I would have ended up getting one had I not come here, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I also spoke to the head of housing regarding ambulance calling, and due to the nature of my seizures we decided that an ambulance would only be called on the rare occasion that I have a drop seizure, and I've only had one ever. So we are good. Again, thank you all so much. The next one is titled, "My niece is stuck in a hospital, how can I get her out?" She is located in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, as she is 16. I'm going to try and keep this brief. She first went into this hospital a year ago and has been stuck there. She has extremely bad narcolepsy, and that is what she should have been only treated for. After they fixed this issue, the main doctor started to say she has behavioral issues, depression, and is bipolar. This is not true, and her therapist disagrees with the diagnosis but has no power in the matter. He started her on different medications and gave injections that make her feel terrible. He keeps switching medications to keep her longer when she does not want to be there. She stopped taking them secretly and is fine without them. They won't let her leave and come home because she has to be in a localized facility with the specialist. Her therapist does not think she should be there and she agrees. I have tried to contact them and stop this to no success. I'm wondering, how can I force them to cancel treatment to get her out? If you need any more detail, I'm glad to give it. And guys, I don't know about you, but at least for me, that is one of the horror scenarios that I don't even want to imagine myself to be in, aka being stuck in a mental institution or in a hospital without even needing treatment. If you were in OP situation, how would you try to get your niece out of this situation? Let us know in the comments. Aside from that, a user in the comments called Mind Over Matter said, "You are her legal guardian and you are technically responsible for her and you are living 41 hours away? You need to get in your car, take a plane, take a bus or whatever, you need to get to the hospital, get all your documents together that prove you have guardianship over her and go to that hospital in person and take her home. Also get the therapist to write up a letter with his professional opinion on the situation, signed and dated with his contact information at the bottom, so if CPS has to get involved, they have a way to contact him. If the doctor thinks he has some medical reason to keep her in the hospital and you try to remove her, he may call CPS." And now the update to the hospital's story. My post, link, did not get much attraction, but I am very thankful for the advice. She is out, she should have been out a year ago. I contacted a lawyer to help me with request for a consent and capacity board hearing, but thankfully it did not have to go that far. He is really good at his job. We might be suing for medical malpractice, so I cannot really talk about it. Well guys, even though that is not the most satisfying ending, it is at least a sort of wholesome one. And actually, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure if I've already asked for stars, so I will do it now. If you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you so much in advance. And the next one is titled "Landlord withholding 6K security deposit because of septic issues he claims are our fault." I live in Washington State, rented a property from a landlord and signed a 2-year lease. Approximately 6 months into renting, the septic system, built in 1966, started to fail and shit was literally flowing into the backyard. He paid to have it pumped and got it inspected. They determined the leach field had reached the end of its life and that he needed a new system. He hired a company to install a new system, and for the next year we had no backyard, and for a duration of that period we had an open sewer trench with our waste draining directly into the yard while we awaited county inspection. He agreed to give us a month's rent as compensation for our troubles and told me, let him know if I ever felt it was inadequate and we could work something out. Immediately after the septic system was finalized and commissioned, we alerted him that we were getting pungent sewer odors around the property and inside the house. The septic company kept telling us that we needed to give it a few weeks for bacteria to build up and that the odor would go away. However, it never did. Fast forward 4 months to us being at our wits' end and me telling him, politely, that I believed we were due an additional 10% reduction in rent until the issue was resolved. This pissed him off and he said that not only was he rescinding the 1-month rent refund, but that he and the septic company believed we were lying about the odor in order to get money out of him. At this point I engaged a lawyer and long story short, the landlord ended up trying, unsuccessfully, to evict us on Christmas Eve. As you can imagine, this ruined my kids' Christmas and seriously pissed off my lawyer. My lawyer responded forcefully and the landlord very quickly rolled over, apologized and agreed to honor his initial 1-month compensation offer. The landlord then admitted to me that he had not paid the septic company and they had put a lien on his property. He claimed that they could force a foreclosure on his home and he needed us to vacate so that he could sell the property. I asked him what that had to do with trying to evict us and he said, "If they come after me, I have no choice but to come after you." I told him we did not want to live on the property and that we were actively looking to purchase or rent a new home in order to get out of the situation. While we searched for a new home, the septic company continued to come do site inspections and continued to claim that they could not smell anything, even though they installed something I've come to learn is known as a stink pipe on the system, venting it directly into the neighbor's yard. On May 31st, the end of our lease, we moved out of the property after buying a home. We have a signed copy of the walkthrough inspection showing there were no issues. Fast forward to today, 28 days after we have moved out and the landlord has still not returned our $6,000 deposit. I reached out to him several times, cordially over the past few weeks to provide our mailing address and to see when we should expect it to be returned, and today he finally responded saying, paraphrased,
"The septic company had a lab analyze the contents of the septic system and determined that the odor was caused by potent organic waste in the system, which was too high by a factor of 2. Therefore, the issue was caused by you and your family. Since they have charged me an additional 5.8k for repeated inspections and the sampling, I am withholding this amount from your deposit."
He then forwarded me test results from a third party that the septic company had hired, which shows a value of 400 BOD, which they are claiming is evidence of an overloaded system and not a flaw in their design or work. It's at this point I should tell you that we are a family of 4, 2 of which are children ages 12 and 6, and that I travel extensively. The very idea that we could produce twice the amount of waste as a family of 4 is absolutely absurd on its face. Moreover, we both grew up with septic systems and never put anything in the toilet other than toilet paper. My lawyer is currently on vacation, and so I am trying to reason through my options. Is this something I can fight? How can I defend myself against samples secretly taken months ago with no ability to have my own tests run? Our alleged high BOD waste was not an issue for the first septic system, so why did it only become a problem during the second? Why is this a-hole's debt with the septic company my problem? Has anyone ever seen anything like this? Would I stand a chance in small claims? I've been nothing but kind and empathetic through the duration of this ordeal, but now my compassion and goodwill has been completely exhausted. Any advice or insight would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. And guys, speaking of toilet paper and septic systems, you know, one of the things that is so much better in Thailand than in the West is the following. In Thailand, people obviously use toilet paper as well. However, they have something that we call a bum gun, which is basically like a little pistol that shoots water, which you can use to clean yourself after you have done some big business. And I gotta tell you, once you have used something like that, you don't wanna ever go back to just toilet paper. Unfortunately, our toilets here are not really built for that. Therefore, I had to get some alternatives. But anyway, I don't want to go into much more detail. Anyway, someone in the comments said, in Washington state, the limit to return a deposit is 14 days. He now has to return the deposit even if the damages to the tank could be proven to be you. He is SOL. A landlord who wrongfully withholds all or a portion of a tenant's security deposit may be liable for paying up to 2 times the tenant's security deposit plus court costs and reasonable attorney's fees. And the next one is the update to the landlord's story. Short version, I got my money back, breakdown of events. My lawyer sent demand for full amount of security deposit to my landlord's lawyer, who replied saying she no longer represented him. My lawyer got reply from landlord saying he would pay the amount owed after deducting $3,000 for his valuable time. Also spent trying to find a suitable light fixture to replace one we had damaged. His math was $500 per hour at 6 hours. My lawyer replied by rejecting the offer and telling the landlord that he genuinely wished you had legal representation so they could advise you as to the precariousness of your legal position. And that unless he pays the full amount, we would be pursuing the matter in superior court, where we would be seeking double the deposit amount, damages for emotional distress, and court and attorney's fees. Landlord crapped his pants and overnighted a certified check for the full deposit. I am thankful to be in a position where I could have an attorney help me. Rich guys like this probably steamroll people their entire life. Thank you all who replied to the original thread. Traffic blocks me and my neighbors from exiting our driveways. I purchased a home in Florida a few years ago on a street that dead ends. The driveway to the house opens directly into the street. Across the street from my house there was a large plot of undeveloped land. Last year a woman, I will call her Stacy, purchased the land across the street and built a large house surrounded by several portable buildings. She lives in the house and uses the portable buildings as classrooms for a private preschool which opened this school year. The neighbors, I have one on each side of my house, on this side of the street, were never informed about the construction of the preschool. When the school year started, I was greeted by a long line of cars. It is a 2-lane road with no turning lane, waiting to make the left turn into the preschool that severely backed up traffic. I tried to pull out of my driveway and onto the street, but the cars refused to move. They are all in park with the parents waiting to drop off their kids, and I had to wait over 45 minutes to simply pull out of my own driveway. This also happens at the end of the school day. My neighbors and I had a meeting and went over and asked Stacy if there was a way to help resolve the traffic problem. My neighbor's wife does not work, and she said she would be willing to volunteer as a crossing guard because she loves kids. We thought that would be a great solution, but Stacy told us that a crossing guard would be unnecessary. We explained to her that the parents are blocking our driveways and are not leaving gaps in front of our driveways for us to leave. Stacy became very belligerent and asked us to leave. I decided to purchase some signs that say, "Please do not block the driveway," and place them on either side of my driveway on Sunday night. My neighbors did the same with their own signs. On Monday morning, I walked out to my car and my driveway that was still being blocked by the parents waiting to drop off their kids. I waited for a few minutes, but after 5 minutes went by and the parents continuing to sit in their unmoving vehicles, I started to lay on my horn. Stacy must have heard me, because when I got home from work, someone had ripped my signs out of the ground and they were gone. I checked my security cameras and they have footage of Stacy destroying the signs. My instinct is to call the police, but one of my neighbors believes that because it affects all three of us, that we might have to escalate this higher. What do you all think? And a user in the comments said, "Dead on, but I would start with the fire chief. This woman has children in a house with cars blocking the street. If there was a fire, what would happen? Call the fire chief first to report the cars, also mention the school. Then call zoning/building inspection, then call the city and ask if there is a permit for the business. F these people, F this woman for refusing to work with her neighbors, F the people who block you in. Don't hold back." And guys, please let me know in the comments how you would handle this situation. Would you be as radical as the guy suggested in the comments? Let us know. And now we will read the update to the preschool story. Hey guys, thank you all so much for the advice, and I am happy to report that we found a way to resolve the situation. Some of you asked why my neighbor felt that Stacy was being racially motivated, and I did not want to get into too much detail at the time because I did not personally feel that way. My neighbors are black, I am Asian, and Stacy is white, but I don't believe that she was trying to do this because we are minorities. She would have done this to anyone regardless of race. As suggested by numerous users, I decided to call the police when I got home from work, and they said they would send an officer out to investigate. I did not have a chance to file a zoning complaint. As I predicted, the traffic to my house was backed up and I was waiting to pull into my neighborhood. I had joined the line of cars. When the officer arrived, I flagged him down and explained to him about the long line of cars and how they were blocking the driveways. At this point, my neighbor Alex and his wife Anna came out of their house to also speak with the officer. The second neighbor Louis then came home and joined us. The officer was not only concerned about us not having access to our driveways, he was also very concerned about the safety of any children crossing the street. He asked us to wait in my neighbor's yard while he walked over to speak with Stacy. After about 15 minutes, the officer and Stacy's oldest daughter Laura walked over to speak with us. I had not met her until this point. Laura explained that her mother had a stroke last year and that she was sometimes not in her right mind as a result. She brought over some of the medical documents and we believe her. Laura said that she had no idea that the parents had been blocking us because she had been so busy trying to manage the kids. She apologized and said that she would be revising the school policy and sent an email out to all the parents to notify them that they cannot block our driveways. She BCC'd us on the email, and she also let us know that they built the school in order to care for the overflow of children from their normal church daycare and that she never meant to cause any problems. The officer suggested that if Anna wanted to be the crossing guard, that she could go into the station and ask to be named a volunteer deputy and become official. Anna started filing the paperwork yesterday and it should all be taken care of in a few weeks. In the meantime, the officer made a few phone calls and one of the older residents of a close neighborhood, an ex-officer, said that he would gladly fill the role of crossing guard while Anna got her paperwork straightened out. He's going to start on Monday. My neighbors and I have decided that we will not report them for the zoning issue unless things escalate from this point. The station is aware that the preschool is not properly zoned, but they are willing to turn a blind eye as long as the preschool agrees to let Anna be the crossing guard. I do not see any harm in allowing the school to exist as long as I am not negatively affected, and I am happy that we were able to find a compromise. Laura brought us each some cookies and snacks and apologized again. This might not be the satisfying update you all wanted, but we are all happy and the issue looks like it is resolved. Edit, the solution of having Anna be the crossing guard was exactly what we wanted from the beginning. I know some of you would be upset about the zoning or the legal repercussions for Laura, but all of us neighbors are satisfied with the compromise we made. Anna is very religious and she is more than happy to help out with the school. I will explain to Laura about the dangers of the zoning issues and see if we can find a way to get her legitimized. Thank you all again. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our amazing community. Furthermore, don't forget to go to r/ripestories on Reddit to post your own stories if you want me to read them out in a video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I see you again tomorrow.